I was asked at the weekend by a very nosy friend how I make money woodworking, and the conversation grew and we asked her, okay, well, I'll tell you exactly how I make money, but it's multifaceted. And he said, well, don't you just manufacture something and sell it? And I went, no, absolutely not. I make things to order. Sometimes it's just for family, so it could be a passion project, but I would also use that as then a showpiece. From my selfish point of view, I would use it as a showpiece, but they would then get the gift. I'm just finishing off a piece, as you can see. But I had to break down in my head of during this conversation how much I make from what. Now, let's get the elephant out of the room for a start. YouTube. I'll tell you exactly how much I make from YouTube, and it's a big fat zero, nothing, zip. I'm not monetized yet. Don't know if I ever will be. If I am, that's fantastic, and if I become a multi-billionaire out of YouTube, I will be more than happy, and I'll put it on my next list. But in the meantime, what I can tell you is that for every £10,000 that comes into, it doesn't matter whether it's pounds, dollars, or whatever, yen, but for every £10,000 that comes into this workshop, I would suggest that probably three to 4,000 of it is from commission pieces, from making things out of wood. Simple as that. Probably another 1,000 where I'm restoring an antique and I'm just doing a little part of it. Perhaps there's a small part of it that's damaged and I'll repair that. Don't do too much about that because there are experts in that field which I would probably direct more expensive pieces towards. And then the third one, which I'll show you just now. Okay, so this is my second unit, and at the moment I've got 5 pieces that I'm working on, and this is upcycling furniture. Now, before you turn off in disgust, this is in a young. They retail. They don't make them anymore, but they're on the market at the moment anywhere between $750 and $950. And just to give you an idea, this is probably going to take about £50 worth of product, and it cost me the grand sum of £45. That's because my partner is very clever. Found it on Marketplace. It won't be sold on Marketplace, I can assure you. I'll come back to that in a moment. But this was found on Marketplace for £45. It's an absolutely fantastic build quality order, but the finish on it is ruined and it just needs a very good sanding. I don't mean harsh sanding, but a good sanding all over and refinishing, and that can go back out the door for actually very little effort. I've got, I'll just show you, bit of walnut veneered coffee table, free. If it goes out to the door for 150, 200 pounds, that's fine. I've got a set of, I'll just bring out one G-Plan mid-century Nesta 3 tables. Now they retail at about £250, £35. Bureau, you can see on this one, this was £35. When I finish this, it'll be about £350, maybe £400. So there's money to be made in what is nowadays called flipping furniture. I've always done it for donkey's years, so it's not new to us. But it's in vogue and fantastic. If people want it, I'm more than willing to supply it. And what you will find often with pieces is that I'll do stripping in parts. Now, I'm going to come back to do a whole thing on this, I think, at some point, because it is a fascinating subject. What a lot of people do, give it a very light sand and they put chalk paint on it, job done. That's not what I do. I strip these down. I make sure they go out to the door in the condition that I would be proud of. Now that doesn't mean I ruin antiques by totally refinishing stuff, but I will finish it to the best of my ability, and then that means plenty of preparation, plenty of elbow grease. Don't try to rush the process. So as you can see, there's like, oh, this last project down here, the table, this is a passion project. This is, I'm not going to be selling this. This is going to be for me. Let's go back into the unit and I will discuss this a little bit more in depth. So a lot of people will say, well, you know, flipping furniture, that's not woodwork. I would beg to differ. There are carpenters, joiners, cabinet makers, first fix carpenters, second fix carpenters. There are people that will upcycle furniture. There are people that will restore antiques to an extremely high level, who are artists within their own rights. There are so many different facets to our hobby, our businesses, that it's you couldn't count them on 10 hands, really, the different elements that we can sort of, rabbit holes that we can go into. There are people that will only ever use hand tools or try to only ever use hand tools. I'm sure they've got some machine tools as well, but they'll go down the hand tool route. There are some people that are quite happy making everything with, I do. I use dominoes. I'll use all the modern equipment that I can if I can get my hands on it and if I can afford it. There are people that will use CNC machines. I've got nothing against CNC machines, and yet other people will say, well, that's not woodwork. If you're working with wood, it's woodwork. Simple as that. Now, the reason I don't have a CNC machine is because the old brain cells I don't think are going to be able to cope with programming it. So I've managed to stay clear of that. But it doesn't mean I won't in the future. The only thing that is constant throughout is the quality of what goes out your door. It's all very well just giving it a light sand, put some chalk paint on and saying that's upcycling, or knocking a box together that is not up to par, it's not what the customer wants, and trying to sell it. That doesn't work. If you put in the time and the effort, and I've said this in other videos, if you put in the time and the effort, the buyers will come to you. If you don't, you'll just end up with a load of stock on the floor outside your workshop. That's just a fact of life. You can give it away if you want to, but then what have you done? You've spent hours not making money. And the idea of any business at the end of the day is to make cash. So whatever your bag, I'm going to make some videos up on upcycling furniture, for example. Some people will hate that idea because they're more into one facet of woodwork. But what I would ask you to do is have a look at those videos when they come out in the future, because there's a tremendous to be learned about finishing products. How much effort has to go into sanding, how much effort has to go into stripping, how much effort has to go into learning to spray paint or use a paint sprayer. It might be just for a top coat of some sort. What could you do to improve your brush strokes when you're painting or applying finish? There's so much to learn that we can learn that will benefit all elements of woodwork. So that's my take on it. You take it and care, and I will see you in the next video.